A cheap power supply is a major liability in a workstation computer. Unstable power delivery can cause your system to crash constantly. This can cost you valuable time while you wait for your computer to restart and hope that it doesn't happen again. At worst, a power supply can fail completely, and when a cheap power supply fails, it often takes down other components with it. This can include your expensive GPU. Today we're going to cover how to tell the difference between a good power supply and a bad one. To give you a brief rundown of the units that we have here today, we have the Corsair RM750e and we have the Corsair HX-600. This is the standard unit that we use in our Vulcan workstations, and this is an entry-level unit from about 13 years ago. So there are actually some budget power supplies that are far worse than this one. You can identify those based on their unpainted silver finish and also the multicolored cables. Now this one over here does have multicolored cables as well, but at least it does have some kind of sleeving to make it somewhat more pleasing to look at. The RM750, on the other hand, has individually sleeved black cables, which is a much more premium touch. The next thing to look at is modularity. Now, good power supplies are fully modular, which means you can attach only the cables that you need. So for example, I know that I'm going to need to plug in a graphics card into the system, so I can plug in a PCIe power cable right here. Our Vulcan systems only need power for the CPU, the motherboard, and the GPU, which is a grand total of 3 cables. The HX-600, on the other hand, is non-modular, which means that all of the cables are fixed to the body. So on top of the motherboard, CPU, and GPU power, we also have 6 SATA connectors and a bunch of Molex connectors. As you can imagine, this mess of cables over here makes the build much more cramped, and it greatly impacts the airflow of the case. It also leaves more opportunity for dust to settle, which can impact cooling in the future. There are also some power supplies that are semi-modular, which means that some cables are fixed to the body and some are detachable. And this sounds good in theory because you're always going to need to plug in a motherboard and a CPU. But in practice, this is only ever found on budget-oriented PSUs. So the next detail is the 80+ certification. On the surface, 80+ is just about energy efficiency at various states of load, but it can be a decent benchmark for a PSU's quality. We would recommend against anything that's lower than 80+ gold, which would be like this HX-600 being 80+ bronze. Below that, there's still 80+ white. This RM series PSU is 80+ gold certified. Now, this on its own isn't the only metric you should use when you're buying a power supply, because a few years ago, Gigabyte actually released an 80+ gold unit that was prone to exploding. So in short, every good power supply is rated 80+ gold or above, but not every 80+ gold power supply is good. Another good metric for the quality of a power supply is its warranty period. So we would recommend a unit with a 5-year warranty or longer. The RM series has a 7-year warranty, and the Corsair HX-series that we use in our Hydras has a 10-year warranty. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, would be SPL's PSU tier list. This is an extensive list of power supplies with various details about their performance and features. For a high-performance desktop workstation, we would recommend anything of tier B or above. We often get comparative quotes from other companies where the power supply is like the Gambias Helios E1 or M1B or the Antec Atom series of power supplies. All 3 of these are F tier. As you can imagine, that exploding Gigabyte that I mentioned earlier is also tier F. For our Vulcan series, we found that the best power supplies available in South Africa under 1,200 watts were the RM series. So these are B+ tier units with a good set of features and a nice long warranty. Since our Hydra systems are much more power hungry, we go with the HX 1200 or 1500, which are A+ tier units. So to sum up, you can start by taking a look at the 80+ rating of a power supply as well as its warranty period. We would recommend staying away from any unfinished silver PSUs and always check SPL's PSU tier list for final confirmation. Of course, if you buy a Modena computer's workstation, we've already done all the research for you, so you can rest assured that you've got a solid power supply powering your system. If you are looking at getting a new system anytime soon, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thanks.